Good afternoon, YouTube family. Thank everyone for coming. I'm just waiting for my special guest to arrive. And the link is only for my special guests and the ones I get an email to. So that's okay. Good afternoon, Corey. How you doing?
I'm all right. And yourself? How's everything going? Oh,
It's
that's
going,
what.
it's going, it's going much better now. Look, I got it now. Yeah. So that's I was just waiting for you to. You looking good?
Appreciate you. My boy Dakar should be uh joining shortly. I sent him the link.
Okay.
Hopefully, he'll be on.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, because I'm gonna wait till a couple more people come down. I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions I had wrote
Are
down.
you are you doing this live on Facebook too?
That's all I wanted to do. Okay. Just introduce yourself. I'm on mute, and then because I don't have Facebook on my Chrome, I have it on my phone. Okay, so
Mhm.
just introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Corey Allen from Corey J. Allen from Newburgh, New York. Lifelong resident of Newburgh, New York. Um, yeah, I'm in.
Okay, hold on.
All right, lifelong resident of Newburgh, New York. Um, 43 years old. Mother, father, both sides of my family, we are descendants of American Negro slaves. And you can trace us way back. I'm actually doing some searching right now. Um, but I'm here just to talk about, what
Okay,
we.
excuse me, Corey. Uncle Jesse said, could you email him the link? Could you do it through what text or email him?
I got you. I'll email it to him.
Okay, and then we have someone else. How you
Hello,
doing?
hello. How you doing? Trying to get in
What's going on,
focus here.
Carlos? How you feeling?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right.
All right. Thanks for coming. I'm just got it confused. I had to start a whole new another live because my live was acting stupid. Yeah. So Uncle Jesse waiting for you. Hi Supon, how you doing in the chat? Waiting for you to send him the link.
Yeah. Y'all excuse me for a moment. My son is crying and I don't know
All
why.
right. Okay. Uh okay, Corey. So what you was saying, all right, because I only got one person in chat anyway. This still in here.
Oh, you know
Peace.
why? You
Okay.
know
So Corey, so would you email it to him or you text it?
I emailed it to him.
Okay, okay. So give me 1 minute. I'm great going mute. I'm great so I can share it on Facebook.
Don't put it in the garbage. It's on the floor. I gotta put it in the garbage. Here. Keep it in one. Okay. 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 So if my son jumps in on the call, you'll understand.
Okay, I just put it on Facebook. Okay. Now y'all have to excuse me because I'm used to this Facebook and this. No, I'm used to StreamYard, but not like send out the links. Okay, again, Corey. Okay, introduce yourself again. I'm sorry. I apologize. And then your
Corey Allen, black man from Newburgh, New York, 43 years old. Love it. Loving my life. Trying to get it for my people.
okay, Mr. Claire. Can you introduce yourself to the audience?
My name is DeCaris McLaren. I'm 44 years old. I'm a native of Newburgh, now living in Poughkeepsie.
Oh,
Husband, father, and I also love my people.
Okay. Now I'm gonna ask you you and Corey a question concerning this topic.
Yeah.
Okay. Corey, what made you want to address the restoration for the ADOS people?
Reparations. What made me
Uh-huh.
want to address reparations? Like where? Like locally here with you guys?
Just in general, what made you
In
want to bring up
general.
that issue?
Um. Okay. It's. I was talking to my father last night. We have a record collection here, very old record collection, and he
Uh-huh.
was like, you know what? Those records may be worth a lot of money. You know, you guys should sell them. And I'm like, no, I'll never sell those records. I grew up on those records. Like I
Yeah.
remember cleaning up Sunday or Saturdays, actually, the house, my mom, my sister, everybody, we're listening to all those old records, from the gospel ones, from James Cleveland to Walter Hawkins to Shirley Caesar, all the way down, you know, the New Jersey Mass Choir, Georgia Mass Choir, all those Saturdays. That's just the gospel side of it. We got the, you know, the Sam Cooke, all the Sam Cooke, the James Brown, the the Linda Jones is Hypnotized, that kind of stuff. All these songs and these albums that we have that a lot of people don't have, like a lot of like Earth, Wind and Fire stuff. I grew up on this stuff.
Yes.
Grew up listening to it, and it's attached to who I am, and it's attached to a lot of memories, my family. And I'm never gonna sell those records
Okay,
because those
good. I'm on
records.
1 minute.
Wait,
I'm gonna tell you the album's back in style. I went to Target 2 months ago. I
Sheila,
bought me a
Sheila,
turntable and I bought different albums. So
but
don't go
let me
ahead.
tell you why. Let me tell you, I'm not finished yet. Let me tell you why that's important though, because that music was made by my people. That's the music of our people. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into that music, and a lot of things happened. You know, that music was a soundtrack to a lot of our lives. So when you look at our experience here, hey brother Howard, when you look at our experience here, our experience is particular to us. Everyone doesn't have that. They can't relate to the music that I have here in my house. They like some of my friends can. I can play stuff for Dakarish right now that he probably has in his house. But a lot of people can't relate to that music because they weren't brought up on it. So my thing is looking at it from like music, specifically Black people, we have and more specifically, those who are descendants of slaves who have been in this country, the builders, I call us, the builder class.
Okay.
We have a particular history that is specific to us that other people will not understand. And with that history comes a certain amount of pride. I look at I went to Dakaris used to go to Ebenezer Baptist Church. I would visit him and his church family sometimes for years. I found out 2 years ago that my grandfather was one of the founders of that church. 2 years ago.
All right.
Went in that church for years. His picture's on the wall. Never even looked at the pictures. His picture's on the wall of that church. So when you look at like legacy, I'm looking at things tied to our people. We have we are a special people who have done special things in this country. I mean, probably the most special things in this country in regards to building something for people and building something for everyone that everyone's coming here to get, you know, benefit from. And when I look at how we built this country and the opportunity cost, what it took to make us who we are, I look at, you know, the fact that no one else can say that they are like us. So my thing is, I want to take pride in that. I teach my niece and my nephews, my nieces and my nephews. Well, my eldest niece, she knows, or I've been talking to her about stuff. But my younger nieces and nephews, I talk to them about legacy and having pride in their family, and about, you know, that everything that we talked about just wasn't about. Everything that we did wasn't just centered around slavery or just, you know, or just woeful times. We did everything that we did despite slavery and woeful times.
Right.
So there has to be a certain amount of pride that comes with that. And a lot of people don't know that. So that's why I'm with the whole reparation thing. I'm looking at our communities right now. I'm looking at everybody else. And then I don't want to go too long or whatever. I'm gonna give someone else an opportunity to talk, but I'm seeing things that are happening for other people that aren't happening for us. And we've been here longer than everybody else. Therefore, reparations.
Okay.
And I'm gonna mute my line.
All right. Okay, McClare, what make you decide to address this issue?
Um, because if you have an interest in justice as a Black person, you are interested in people getting their just due. And America has, for so long, on our backs, dined and ditched, and that's what they continue to try to do. They've eaten well. They have they have used us to get, or our ancestors to get where they are, and now when the bill is due, now they want to dine and ditch, and no one else gets to do that. And I'm getting tired of pretty much our people being represented as people that are they just want a handout, or they don't work hard. When we come from the hardest working people, Corey talked about his family. I come from a family of sharecroppers. Sharecropping is, as you know, slavery light. That's what that is.
Yes.
My grandfather was a sharecropper. My grandmother was a domestic, and this is on my father Jesse's side, right? And my grandfather goes back to the year 1898. So already, just going back to my grandfather, I'm already in the 1800s, and I'm hearing people who just got here maybe 2, 3 generations ago telling me that I'm not entitled to stand in the shoes of my ancestors who have built, bled, and died to build the country. I don't think that that's right at all. We are still based on the slavery effects. We are still at less than 2% or less than 3% of the nation's wealth, and part and parcel to why that is because of all the not only slavery but also the accrued disadvantages that come along with being a part of that lineage. So Jim Crow, about 90 years of Jim Crow ensued after that. Matter of fact, my people on my father's side are from Wilmington, North Carolina. If you know anything about Wilmington, North Carolina, in the late 1800s, they had an insurrection there, basically a white takeover, and a lot of my family was displaced during that time. So we have bared the cost for a long time, but we have not bared the benefit of what this country has had to offer. And it's high time that the bills due. It's time to pay up. No more excuses.
Beautiful said. Pastor Howard. Now, what made you want to address this issue?
Well, there's many issues and many aspects of addressing this one issue, and it's not just a one issue because when you look at this one issue, it's like a melting pot of other issues, and yes, we can address this, but is it the solution? We talk about nationwide, statewide, countywide, but is it a solution for our people? I like to address it because there's so many pockets of us as a people, but yet because going back to slavery time and going back to being socialized in a sense or institutionalized, that these pockets of information never come together to make the whole. See, we are part of a bigger puzzle, bigger piece, bigger solution. But if we stay isolated, I'm talking about us as a people right now, but if we stayed isolated in our own cocoon, then we don't address the whole. We might get something that's going to satisfy us through whatever means, but I think we're looking at a solution for our people generally. At least that's what I'm looking for. Not just my own welfare, my own being, my own family. That's great. But I'm looking outside of the box of my own norm to impact other people, to give them what they need in order to be relevant in this economy, in this world, in this society, in this country. Look at Mr. McLaren. Your family got big history in the city of Newburgh. You know, it goes back. And I was on a Black History committee, did their Black History thing for Black History Month. And, you know, us right now, I didn't see Corey there. I didn't see Mr. McLaren there. Sheila, I didn't see you there. And that's not a negative. But in order for us to get where we need to be, there has to be a connection. And Black History brought out some things that I wasn't even aware of. Like Corey was saying, the church, Ebenezer, the church I'm in, they did a history on Elder Bess, and the church that I attend in Kingston, Elder Bess started that. You know, and they gave dates, they gave years, they gave all of the information. But, you know, the Black History Committee is also a tool. It might not be the sharpest tool, but it's a tool that can help us get where we need to be, or we can help the Black History Committee in the city of Newburgh or the Hudson Valley to get where it needs to be, networking on this Black issue. Mr. McLaren, again, you know, Jocelyn is my niece, Sheila's cousin. Okay, so you know the connection. See, we're all interconnected some kind of way. Maybe not through bloodline, but through, you know, casual understanding. And right now, I'm just going to say this because just to let you know how I'm trying to connect. I'm the president of Project Life. And Sylvester. Okay. And so I'm holding down the fort, not because of my history, because of your history. You see? I'm holding your family history down. See, to me, it's you know, we have to really look at this thing and see how the roots really spread out, and we have to come back to the tree and try to resolve this issue. That's me. I'll back up. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it makes sense to me.
Makes a lot of sense.
and I want to piggyback over that because your uncle, the Carls, you already know your uncle was my spiritual. That was my pastor growing up. Exactly. So it's like all these folks here, like he's right. We're a very small city, and we're all connected. Yes. And like, it's our legacy, Reverend Howard. I get what you're saying. We're connected. Yeah. It's our legacy.
Yes, we are.
And y'all said it's so beautiful. Y'all have, because the end of the day is, I'm be honest, Pastor Howard. Like I said, I had to take a break because you know I've been fighting, and I mean, the police department shutting down city halls, shutting down city of Newburgh and different stuff, coming up, organizing so we could just do different stuff. And I know that don't make no excuse. But when I was, you know, when the Lord put this on my heart and then I gave it to you and Corey as we came together, I thought it was beautiful because I thought I was crazy just hitting this issue. And then when it was enlightened, and it was so funny that everything me and you and Corey was saying, and then heck, Ice Cube was saying the same thing, you know? So, and then that's what I'm saying. And I'm be honest, I'm just going to keep it real here. Being a female, a Black female, you coming against the mayor, you coming against elected officials, you coming against the police department. I remember when they had to call me to shut down blocks so contractors couldn't come in and work because they weren't hiring no Black people. And we remember that time, Uncle Jesse, what I did in City Hall, and you came to the right, and I said, look, when it comes to politics, it ain't no friends or family. I said, you know, so we had to shut down City Hall, you know, saying ain't nobody going in and nobody going out. Did not sign different contracts. And that wasn't likable. Being on the front lines, people don't understand. You're going to take a lot of hits. You're not going to be likable. They're going to respect you, but they don't like me. And that's all I'm saying. As a female, I'm coming against males, Caucasian males. That's why I say, you know what? Our men's, we had men's, the radical ones, but they didn't speak their language when we was going to different meetings. I don't have to say no names. I know who I'm talking about. So now with you and Corey, and you know, we got the first black mayor. Like I told him, he made history on that. Thank God for that. Coming to the table, talking their language. They don't know how to take y'all. And I'm like, God, where was y'all 8 years ago, 9 years ago? You know? Now, do y'all get it? Do y'all really get it? See, now, Pastor Howard, you see why your niece is out there fighting. Now you in the inside. You ain't on the outside. You in the inside, and you see what they do.
Well, Sheila, I got a question for you. I think that, all right, when we talk about reparations, we talk about why we need them and the justification for reparations when we go to talk to these people.
Yeah.
And I believe that a lot of folks, a lot of black folks who have gone through, who have the same lineage that we do, the same legacy and the heritage attached to them as we do, being the builders of the country, a lot of folks don't understand history. They don't even know history. And we become comfortable with not knowing history, not knowing where things went right or where things went wrong. I was just Googling, actually pulling up Martin Luther King Jr., one of his last speeches in 1960. Yeah, he was talking about coming to get our check. I think it's called Two Black Americans. I forget what it's called, but Martin Luther King Jr. gave a rundown of this country, of what this country did, how basically most of this country was built off of our backs. We had farms at one time, we had land.
Right.
They made a bunch of laws, did a bunch of sideways practices, policies, practiced racism, because ism, the suffix ism means, state or practice or doctrine. So it's a bunch of people holding hands saying this is going to be the way. And all of white America, which was the majority of this country, agreed that white supremacy would be the way. So we had farmlands, we had a whole bunch of stuff, despite anti-black racist policies. And those were taken from us by way of racist laws. You had land acts all throughout the 1800s and 1900s. Whenever you see black folks doing something, we had the Freedmen's Bank. They went in there and just took money. We're the only people that have ever. I used to watch movies, and with my mother and I would ask her, there'd be these scenes in the movies where black people would go down to the bank and the bank would be closed. And then they would tell the black folks, hey, there's nothing we can do for you. Your money's gone. I looked at my mom like, they can't do that, can they? She goes, yeah, they could do that. Because they black, they're Negroes. They didn't give a damn about niggas back then. So when we talk about this country and the need for reparations, we have to look at historically each and every instance that you can where this country actually benefited from hindering us or harming us. They got rich off of terrorizing us. We clothed the freaking world once. We clothed the entire world off of everyone was off of our backs. We built railroads. It wasn't the Chinaman that built railroads. Chinaman came over here to work on railroads that were built already. A lot of people say the Chinaman built the railroad. No, I don't hear no songs about no Chinese railroad man. John Henry, on the other hand.
Right.
So when you talk about like this history, it begins with history, Sheila. Getting acquainted well with history. And a lot of our folks don't want to do that. They're afraid. They're afraid that the friends they have right now, they're going to offend the friends they have. They're going to have limited sexual access to people of other colors. They're afraid that they're afraid of a lot of things. It's crazy. But it starts with history, knowing our history. And once we get that history down, the case for reparations and everybody will become apparent. I'll mute my line.
So, no, Corey, I'm gonna ask you because a lot of people say, blacks looking for a handout. If somebody said it's a handout, what would you say to that person? Because oh, come on, that's a hand, man. Y'all, come on, that's man.
Who looking for a handout, Sheila?
The blacks.
We're looking for a handout.
Yes.
Everybody.
From whom? From whom? The country? Everybody?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's okay.
You know what? I'm cool with that too. You know what? I used to fight against stuff like that. You know what? You see my language. You're damn right. We're looking for a handout. How about a hand back? Because everybody else got a handout off of our backs. Let's be real.
Right.
Let's be real. Let's be real.
Proud to get a handout.
Immigration, the first wave of immigration, when they said bring us your weak, your huddle masses and all that stuff, that was an open call for people across seas to come over here and get free black labor. And what they did was came over here and they gave them black land that was supposed to go to us. Fast forward to even now, immigration right now. Let's be real. Bring us your weak, your weary, your huddle masses. People are coming over here. When you look at the levels of jobs, you have your high level jobs, your mid-level jobs, and your low-level jobs. Black people all throughout history have never had access to the high-level jobs, nor the mid-level jobs due to racist practices. We've been relegated to low-level jobs, low paying. So when you bring in immigration, open up the borders, that in itself limits the low-level jobs. Low-level jobs. So what's going to happen is this, and it's crazy. Dr. Claude Anderson talks about this. In the next few years, you're going to see more black people than anybody in this country working under the table for lower wages. We're going to have we already have the highest rates of joblessness, not even unemployment, but joblessness. My uncle works for the Department of Labor. We talk about joblessness versus employment or unemployment every day. And a lot of our folks don't understand that. So it begins with history. All these folks saying stuff about like anybody that's against black folks getting theirs and saying we want a handout. Listen, everything's a handout. The banks got bailed out. That's a handout.
Yes.
During Corona, they gave all these funds to the banks and to corporations. They got handouts. When people have money, get money when they're coming from other countries, they start up businesses, offshore accounts. Those are handouts. Mm-hmm. When it comes to certain laws that are made for people to protect certain people, certain class of people, that's a handout.
Yes. Can I say something? I'll chime in.
Yeah, I'm in my line. Go ahead.
We us had come together, we have, and it's a collective group, ideas, collective efforts, because we're going to have different, not ideas, we're going to have different passions that's going to fit into the puzzle. One of my mentors that helped me in the chaplaincy, he says, paint yourself in the picture. Where do you see yourself in the picture? So we have a big picture of reparation. How can we all have different passions that can help move this forward? And those passions come together and make a whole. See, it's not going to be one or two or three or four or five, six ideas. It's going to be a collective group of ideas to get us to the place where we need to be. And so I said that to say that, we talk all the time, but are we making plans and doing something? See, I'm a person of action. I can sit at this forum 2 or 3 times, but I'm saying, what are we doing? What steps are we taking to move forward? What people do we bringing into our networking to help us move this thing forward? That's me.
You know what? Go ahead.
I just, for those people that say that it's just a handout, really don't understand politics.
Right.
Politics is about rewarding your friends and punishing your enemies. It's about the distribution of resources. And in our case, in our history, oftentimes it's either about the deprivation or the maldistribution of resources. That's why there was a Civil Rights Act of 1868, which was stronger than the 1964 Civil Rights Act. That's why you had to outlaw the discrimination by way of FHA. So the nation has been playing politics with us since we got here. And really, when Malcolm said we didn't land on Plymouth Rock landed on us, a lot of us was already here before that. So our history is not just about slavery. Our history goes far beyond that. We supersede slavery. Slavery interrupts our history, but that was also political as well. And as a result of slavery, our slavery being politicized, as a result of us being Jim Crow, as a result of us being red line, all of these are operations of politics. So now when we play politics, and we're going to have to, as Reverend Howard was saying, we're going to have to couple our politics with economics to get that handout. And it's not really a handout. We're really going to have to really take it from this country. We're going to have to coerce, because that's politics too. Politics is about coercion. It's about getting Group A to do something that it wouldn't necessarily want to do. That's what politics is about. It's not about people bringing everybody together. Politics, by its nature, is divisive. That's why when we say reparations, we have everybody against us. But why? It's a debt that's owed. But we are the only people where they can tell us, and the reason why they can tell us, no, we're not going to pay you. And how would other people who had nothing to do with enslaving your ancestors, not a person is alive today that was enslaved. That's why we have people who just got here. Why they are taking their opinions into consideration is an operation of politics. So we're going to have to push back. We're going to have to intimidate. We're going to have to coerce. We're going to have to do all these different things to put the pressure on them, where we can say, look, this is you can no longer deny our interest and our right. So when somebody says it's a handout, yeah, you're right. You're right. It's a handout.
And Sheila, I was going to just to piggyback a little bit off of
Go
what
ahead,
you just
Corey.
said too. Brother Dakar just said some dropped some gems. We are getting pushback. You're gonna get pushback from a lot of people who I don't believe have the right. Shouldn't even be in the conversation. They shouldn't even be talking about us, for us, or even to us about these things. And for that reason, it's best that whenever involved in such an initiative, such things like getting Black folks to get, what's rightfully out, getting, as people say, made whole again. It's best that whenever you represent, that you have representatives of the group that know what they're talking about. You have to know, see my language, you have to know your shit. Know what you're talking about. Know who you're talking to when you go to talk to them. Know, and you have to want to be the master of all the information that comes in front of you. You have to want to do that. You got to, because when we go to talk to people about reparations, because we're getting pushback from everywhere. It's right. And it's basically, it's on us to be the smartest people in the room, the most informed people in the room, so that when it comes time for us to make our justification, it's irrefutable. It's irrefutable, and you can't block it at all. You can't stop it. And that's what I like about going talking with you guys. When we go talk to folks, we've had pushback on these issues before. I've had people tell me, I get pushback all the time on this whole, me, I don't like the whole phrase BIPOC or people of color or minorities. I hate those phrases with all my heart, because those phrases have been used to deny Black folks what has been rightfully ours, what's supposed to be given to us for years. So when we talk about minority coalitions and all this other stuff, and I tell people these things don't exist, a lot of people, they get mad or they get upset, they get in their feelings, a little feeling in their stomach. But when they come back to reality, they have to look at reality in its face. John Henry Clark said a long time ago, we have no friends. and he ain't never lied. We have no friends. Right now in Oregon, in the state of Oregon, there are monies that have been set aside for Black folks out there that have been historically peed on, stomped on, had the feet of this nation of Oregon, the state of Oregon, on their necks for hundreds of years. Wouldn't let us in Oregon at one time. It was illegal. We weren't even permitted in the state. Now we're less than 2% in that state, and they're saying that COVID is hurting Black Oregonians, Oregonians. How do you say it? Oregonians, more than it hurts anybody else. So, unlike everywhere else that's scared to do it, they actually had money set aside for the Black residents. That money is being held up right now because there are 2 white firms and 1 Mexican firm that are saying it's discrimination or discriminatory to give Black people something specific. So they're suing, thus holding that money up from those people out there, our folks. We have no friends when it comes to this fight. But when it comes to this fight, the best thing to do is go into this fight knowing that you have no friends. Oh, Miss Teresa, I'm hearing this lady named Miss Teresa. Years ago, I said, we all we got. And she looked at me, she said, but we all we need. Now I'm hearing a lot of people say that, and I'm loving it. And she was 100% right. Once we stop running away from our history, our legacy, who we are as a people, stop running away from Black, we'll be better. I'm sorry, there's a train in the background.
Yeah. Now here on YouTube, some people would say burn the Black community down. And it's like, do you think that some of our people hate their own color or hate the behavior of each other? And Corey, I know like we have an inner city, but where our inner city where you live at is in the city, but it's not considered in the ghetto sector. Where I was raised at was in the project, was considered a ghetto sector. But where I live at now is not. So can you explain there's different issues in the whole city of Newburgh, even though different parts where you live that is not considered the inner city?
Well, let me tell you something. I live where I live because my granddaddy years ago, legacy. We talk about legacy. My granddaddy years ago bought this house on North Montgomery Street. My Aunt Brenda maintains. My father says that too, but my Aunt Brenda maintains that when my grandfather came to buy this house, he sent his white friends to front as if they were buying a house, and he bought it in cash. This is around the time during the urban renewal initiative took place in Newburgh. So that's around 66 when he first moved into this house. So if we're looking at like the whole of things, we're looking at the whole. We have a bunch of Black folks. If we look at them like the numbers, look at the numbers. We can see that in regards to wealth, only less than 2% of this nation's total wealth, having less than, I think it's $1,500 in cash after, you get rid of all the depreciating items, for a family of 4, a Black family. That's basically the story all over the place. I get people pushing back right now all the time, right? I'll say Black folks aren't doing well. But look at the numbers and say we're not doing well. But I'll get Black people that say, okay, Corey, give me pushback saying we're doing okay because we got this one or that one or this one here. This one here, he's the exception to the rule. And they'll put their little friends up and their little cliques up to say this is the exception to the rule here. But the biggest part about that is they're not being honest. That little pocket of Negroes that are doing well don't represent the entirety of the group, while the entirety of the group aren't doing well. Lowest in terms of employment, lowest in terms of wealth, highest rates in obesity, diabetes, all these pre-existing conditions they talk about with COVID, highest rates of single motherhood, highest rates of men incarcerated. You got all this stuff going on. And people will still look, black folks will still look you in your face and act as if, hey, the exception is the actual rule. And those goofy Negroes need to stop with that. Because, yes, I work for Habitat for Humanity. I'm not doing bad. I struggle from paycheck to paycheck, but I'm not doing bad. But when it comes down to it, we all could be doing bad. And we look at the system that has held us back. And like, I remember days, man, there were days where we thought we would lose this house. We thought we would lose this house a few times. So it's like, I hear what you're saying. We're looking at the exception versus the rule. And we got to keep our eyes on the prize, as the old adage used to say. Our people are doing bad. I can pull up numbers for anybody if they want numbers. There are plenty of articles out there that talk about all this stuff. I have something in front of me right now, the thing that we put up for the Hudson Valley work we're doing, all the numbers that we have. And honestly, numbers, they say men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. All this stuff from redlining, like the car said, reverse redlining, segregate, Jim Crow, Reconstruction, the black laws, like black codes. Like we had all this stuff going on, crack, cocaine.
Mm-hmm. Right, war on drugs. Right,
war on drugs.
So I'm, you know what? I want to ask you, Pastor Howard, a question. Now, being that we was just not just talking it, we started hitting and having meeting with our elected officials, and then Ice Cube came after us. How do you think it went in the meetings we had, Corey? When I was telling you things that were going to be done to us, and I know the individual who we met with because he the one taught me about the politics. Being he was on the Democrat committee for like 30-something years. How you feel about the meetings we was having? Be honest.
I love the meetings. I love the meetings we had. I love them, brother Howard. I love the meetings we had. I want to hear what he has to say about the meetings. I like the meetings. I had a good time. I enjoyed myself.
Yeah, the meetings were very informative. It is definitely a learning curve. Like Corey said, I'm going to piggyback on what he said. We have to know our information. We have to know history. We have to know every aspect in which they might try to rebuttal, refute, to demean. But I like the meetings. Now, when they stop, they kind of like, okay, what are we doing now? Because it was very informative. They kind of like really got me thinking about more so Black history. And I want to say, because I heard something that made me think about this. See, we have wealth, and the stimulus is a handout. The bailouts that Obama gave to all of the automakers is welfare, the same thing. It's a stimulus, bailout, welfare. That's all the same. And when you say a handout, that's all the same thing. Welfare is a handout, you can say in a sense. Bailout is a just different name for welfare. Stimulus is a different name for welfare. So we have to, in order to navigate, we have to understand the system and have the system work for us, not against us. See, this is the system. This United States of America has a system. If you work within that system, you can get anything you want. I don't care what color you are, because the system does not have a color. We put color in certain areas, and we say, well, we're not welcome to this because of my ethnicity. No, the system does not see color, and if it does see a color, it sees green. I'm gonna back up.
Good one.
So Reverend Howard, I gotta push back on that. I gotta disagree with you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Honestly, 1,000%. I think the system does.
I knew you was, Corey.
I think the system absolutely sees nothing but color. I think the system is built on nothing but color. Jason Black, a guy I listen to, he says
They hate you because they're black. You're black. They can punish you because you're poor. So that system was set up on that hatred. The punishment apparatus is set up because of the position we're in terms of like our poverty, in terms of our socioeconomic status here.
Well, can I
look at
say,
all the laws
hold on,
against
can I say something? When I say system, not a system that is run by people. Mathematics system does not see color. It's a mathematics system. And so this economy that we are working with has a system. And yes, we can say people would deter us because of color, but if you know mathematics, you can go any place in any kind of system to work those mathematics because mathematics do not have color. I'm not saying that the racial system that was created by people in the United States. I'm not talking about that. If you have money and you invest in Wall Street, it doesn't have color. You're investing money as an investor. It doesn't have color. But we look at the system as being racial, which it is, right? But if you know how to work in that racial system away from being color, you can win. You can win. That's all I'm saying.
Well, and that even drives my point home even more though, because saying that, hey, the systems are colorless. They deal with money, and then in the same time saying that, yeah, black folks specifically, the reason why we're here, reparations, we specifically have to move around these landmines and these hindrances. Right. That right there presents the case and the cause for reparation in itself, because there's a phrase there's a phrase people use all the time, moving the goalpost. And whenever in this system that we're in now, you've seen the United States move the goalposts as soon as they start to recognize black folks don't need them or are doing okay. So you have a bunch of black folks making money, having robust families, robust communities. So what do? That threatens you. You make a bunch of laws to break that up. You give them, you limit their access to housing, to capital. You try to break their families up, separate the man and the woman. Basically separate the kids, basically make the family look different. And that's what's been going on with us. So to address these disparities or these landmines and this minefield we're in, reparations are indeed necessary. Right now, again, we talk about offshore accounts. I mentioned offshore accounts. I've done some research. There are certain countries that give folks over here with temporary visas money, and the United States matches them, helping them start their businesses up. More recently, Joe Biden just wrote an executive order admonishing anti-Asian rhetoric, saying that because their businesses have been hurt because of COVID, people don't trust them. They've been talked about since COVID came around, and there's a lot of anti-Asian sentiment. And there's an actual executive order where he names them specifically. When it comes to black folks, we don't get that kind of treatment. We get the exact opposite. I'll take it from a local perspective. Locally, the city of Newburgh is a welcoming city, as they call it, welcoming city, where if you are not here legally, ICE cannot come here. They guarantee that ICE won't mess with you while you're here. And that gives people a great safe feeling. And I understand it's cool. Black people have never been afforded. Our number one hindrance in terms of law enforcement have been the police. It has been that way.
Right.
And what happened with us here in our city, the same folks that made us a welcoming city. So during the COVID, said we need an increased police presence in Newburgh. And so you saw an increased police presence everywhere in the hood and in neighborhoods where it's black. You see black people getting pulled over left and right.
Right.
During the pandemic. So when we look at systems and what it is. We got to be specific in this system. We can talk about racism and all this stuff, but this system is an anti-black racist system. It is 100% anti-black. And I forget who I listened to last week, but they actually said something about not only is anti-black racism encouraged, it's required. So you see every other community that comes through our, like when we start our neighborhoods, right? When we're in our neighborhoods, when the Asians come, the Latinos come, the white people come, they come to black neighborhoods. They start out in black neighborhoods. Back in the days, they try to say recent this thing about how black folks are homophobic, by overall, which is a lie, because back in the days when when the LGBTQ folks weren't accepted in society, weren't allowed to go other places, where did they go? They came to the black neighborhoods. My uncle Phil had friends.
Right.
He used to bring up here his friends who lived with him in Harlem because they couldn't go to their neighborhood or live where they lived at. So when you're talking about black folk, we have specific needs, specifically those that started this country, because it's different. We're different. And people need to recognize that. And the people that need to recognize that, most of all, are our own.
Yes. I know where but I gotta say it personally. Yes, it's there, but it's not there. It's not there for a hindrance. See, once you're educated, once you understand what you're up against, you know how to maneuver around that. And once they move the goalposts, that's okay. I've been there before. I understand how I need to get around that situation, that block that you put up in front of me. And I'm not saying that as an individual, I'm saying that as a whole. But if we go into a situation with our mindset to the point where we're not successful or haven't been successful, then it's very hard to be successful in a sense. I'm talking about the mindset. See, I'm going into this with a mindset is that nothing can really stop me. Once I know the system, how it's I need to operate and navigate through the barriers of reparation, then I know it's a deal. Who I need to get on my side, what I need to do to present it, who I need to get to present it to, who I need as Caucasians, Asians, Hispanics, whoever that's going to be in my corner to get that. Once I understand all of those, how you say, not stops, all of those, as a chessboard, putting all of those pawns in their place, and then I know how to go at, through that porthole to get what I need. But I cannot go through there being defeated from the start. I have to be victorious in my thinking. I have to be positive in my thinking. No, this is no. This hasn't ever been my barrier. It will never ever be my barrier. It might be somebody else's barrier as they look at me, but it's not my barrier, because what I'm going to do is articulate and understand who I'm dealing with. Jonathan Jacobs, Kufis, whoever is in our, networking. So that when I say system, the system was not made by white people. It wasn't made by that. It's a whole different system that I see, that I look at. And the system that I see and I look at, it has no color. And I know what you're saying, Corey. You're like, what is this guy talking about? Okay. All right, let me say something. From a spiritual aspect, it's a demonic system that has no color. It has no color. The demonic system has no color. It'll play everybody. It will play everybody against one another to get what it needs. And I have to understand that system, that even our own can be played against.
Can I interject? May I interject?
Yes.
I want to piggyback off of what you were saying, because our Bible tells us that we have to be wise as serpents and yet harmless as doves. So I know you understand that. Well, we need to get more into the serpent wisdom of this as it relates to politics. Politics is nowhere near religion. So
Right.
What we have done, the mistake that we have made with as black people, is that we have to now, what your mindset that you're talking about, we're going to have to grow up politically. We're going to have to throw out our old expectations and impose some new ones on. The first expectation that we're going to have to impose on ourselves is that we don't have any friends. In politics, there are no friends. There are only interests. The next thing that we have to do is, once we establish what our interests are, we have to be mindful if we're going to have to be in coalition with certain people who have politically not been our friends. What we have to do is establish a punishment mechanism whereby when we enter into these agreements and these coalitions with people, that we have a way to punish them based on our interests. Okay, so we have to incentivize those groups that we are going to join with, because the system doesn't have any color. I'll agree with that, but the system is color coded. All right,
Right.
based on laws. All right, so once we decide, or once we figure out that there are coalitions that work for us, now we have to make the decision as to how we are going to go about punishing or enforcing these people to look out for our interests. And we have politically been inept in doing that. So it really doesn't make any sense to join with people at this point. It doesn't make any sense for us to join with anybody unless we get ourselves together. If we're not cohesive as a political group, if we're not cohesive as an economic group, other groups of people are going to come in and they're going to take what they want, as they have always done, and leave us high and dry. We have politically been the blockers. If you understand the metaphor in a football field, we've politically been the blockers. And Jewish community, Hispanic community, LGBT community, once we have blocked for them, they've been able to take off with their speed into the end zone, and they leave our black behinds right where we were, even though we've been instrumental in getting them to the place. So politically, we're going to have to grow up. Politically, I agree, Reverend Harold. We're going to have to politically grow up. We're going to have to change our mindset. We're not here to make friends. The fact of the matter is, and when you say reparations, you have enemies on all sides. Bottom line, when you say that, you are a lamb led to the slaughter all day. All right. So let's get that out of our minds, that there's going to be people that's going to work with us. No, there are going to be people that are going to have to bend the knee as a result of the pressure that they're going to receive if we do this the right way. So we're going to have to grow up politically and stop being political chumps, as Malcolm X used to say. We got to stop being punks about this.
And we have to piggyback over that, the cars. Remember the other night we
put
talked
our demands and put them strong on the table. I mean, myself.
Remember the other night, we had that meeting, and I quoted that Williams Brothers song.
Sweep around your own front door.
You sweep around your own front door before you try to sweep around mine. It's like we gotta take care of ourselves first. Then we can go out with our brooms and help other people. But we need to sweep around our own right now.
You know what? I just want to say something, because I always say faith without works is dead. And then you look at it, the politicians in the inner city, all that money they're getting for poverty, black on black crime, police brutality, education, and everything. Okay, we said that. Okay, this is a spiritual battle. We know we fight against not flesh and blood, but principality in high places. How are we going to fight somebody in high places if we don't put ourselves in that position as Christians? And you get a lot of Christians saying, oh, I'm just going to pray about it, whatever. And that's a lot of that's going on. Let God work it out. And I'm just going to be praying while you got some of us in the battlefield. We sharpen up our swords. We cutting the heads off the snakes. We exposing demons. We doing everything we could do, but still, a lot of them do not want to hit that issue concerning Black issues, Black on Black crime, police brutality, even when it comes to jobs in the inner city, even when it comes to roads, sidewalks, condemned buildings, stereotyping our Black males, stereotyping our females, making inner city sanctuary cities, like you said, Corey. On this time, they're not dealing with the ones who driving without license. They're pulling somebody walking who's drinking beer, smoking weed, just random, stopping them. When is we really going to address the issues when it comes to our politicians? And I know some of us have, and I mean, you got the Planned Development Department, a lot of money supposed to go back into the inner city, which is dumb. Look at the waterfront. They sold that. They keep on saying they don't have no money, which they could have leased that. But this sold the waterfront. Our waterfront is the only waterfront in Hudson Valley been sold. So we got all the issues, and the body of Christ have not addressed none of them. And I'm telling you that because I was on the minister fellowship when we was doing a lot of our babies was dying. And I had addressed in certain areas and stuff. So I'm just saying, now it's like the church is looking at a joke. I mean, come on. We're supposed to have the power. It's like we powerless.
Oh, Sheila, can I be real, Sheila? Can I be real for 1 second?
Yes.
Let's be real for a second. Let's be real. Because you're looking from a local perspective. So if we're going to look at it from a local perspective, what are these people trying to call me? Local perspective, right? You just brought up the Christian Ministerial Fellowship. Coming up, it was the Black Ministerial Fellowship, where I saw Black men. My pastor, the Carson's uncle, Reverend McLaren, me and him were talking about this yesterday. Coleman Briggs, Ralph Harris, Reverend Hubbard, all these men that we grew up around on this Black Ministerial Fellowship, saying our folks are very special people. We have a specific set of needs that are going to have to be met by the Black Ministerial Fellowship. For some reason, people want to get rid of Black, and that's what you're seeing nowadays. You see the same thing in regards to laws being written, Sheila. You'll see they'll start with Black, same thing. They'll start with Black, but then by the end of whatever they're saying, you'll see Black, brown, minorities, everything. So again, that right there, this issue starts with identity first. One, knowing who you are. Two, it comes down to, are you willing to be Black first in these issues? And if you're willing to step up and tell the truth. A lot of people don't want to tell the truth because they're afraid they're not going to have friends at the end of it. I don't want to offend my friends. No, it's not about offending your friends. If your friends are your freaking friends in the first place, they wouldn't be offended at you saying to anybody that your people need to get what your people need to get.
Daddy. You're right on that. And it's a lot of people don't really want to be. You look at any other race, this territory. We let everybody come in thinking everybody our friends, and look at them. When they come in as our friend, they wind up taking over.
Well, we need to grow up. That's what it is. We need to grow up. We don't have any friends. We don't have those things. We take those ideas as Christians, as Black Christians, and we take those egalitarian ideas and we impose them on politics as if that has anything to do with politics. It has nothing to do with it. I mean, even in the church is cutthroat. There's politics played in the church. So do you not think that it would be played out when you're talking about real resources? No. I'll tell you what the issue is. The issue is that kind of what you were saying, Sheila, about how we think everybody's so our friends and we're so welcoming, and we refuse to put the gate up, is because there's also a political pressure to make us feel like we need to do that. We need to be understanding of everybody's issues, and we need to be welcoming, and we need to account for everybody's issues except for our own. And the moment we say, well, what about us? Now we don't understand politics. We heard our first Black president, not African American president, but our first Black president tell us that we didn't really understand politics. We have our Black Boule class that tells us all the time that we don't understand politics when we ask for something specifically for us. So the moment we assert ourselves in the conversation is the moment that our intelligence is insulted. The moment we assert ourselves in these conversations, we are told that we are being discriminatory, we're being xenophobic, we're being homophobic. So it's a mind job. It is a mind job that they're playing on us. So the first thing you're going to have to do is let people know that regardless of what you think about it, our interest still stands. Regardless of how you feel about what we're saying, the debt is still the debt. I cannot tell any of my creditors that based on how I feel, you should not be paid. I'm not going to pay you what I owe you. But we are the only group of people that the country has the unmitigated gall to tell us based on how they feel about us politically, we don't have the right, we don't have the standing. We who built the country, we who poured our very being into this country, they are telling us that we don't have the standing to even say this is our demand. It is a mind job, and we got to get our minds right. And get out of that whole somebody needs to accept us that we're going to be friends. Screw that.
Right.
And I think it's going to be again a collective effort. And I don't see it's kind of difficult. You're talking about a real problem that's been plaguing since day one. And you hear about this all over the country. I mean, something's going to break. I know something's going to break, but for the solution, and I'm talking, not just, I'm talking about a solution for our people. It's way beyond all of this. It's way beyond that, because as a people, like you said, gatekeepers, we close the gates. We be territorial. Don't let people in. We protect our own. We're not like that, and we. When can we be like that? How many years would it take for us to get up to speed? And so that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the totality of who we are as a people. Like right now, and Corey, like I called Corey. I says, Corey, listen, man, you need to be on this meeting, this CARES meeting. There's money that's coming in and there's money here for people for rent issues. And see, this is where we need to be alarming people, getting people on board to be in positions to get those applications out, to be behind people in our community that needs this money. And I'm saying to people, hey, listen, this money's coming in. Let's be in position. They're like, what do you say? What are you talking about? And I'm saying, where are the people that we say we're for the community, but now where are you? Where are you? Wow. And I'm looking. And Corey, I'm not saying anything bad, but I call you, man, and say you need to be on this meeting, man, because you can get the word out to people just like I can. I'm the only one. I'm the only one.
But you know what? Now let's keep it real. Now you know why you're the only one? Because you managing a homeless shelter for females. If you was not over that, and how many families? Over
16.
15, 16? Okay,
Yes.
with children. Now, if you wasn't over that, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know that information.
Well, Sheila,
No, be honest. You would not know that information if you was not in that position.
I'm trying to.
No, because I'm trying to say, you were saying, hello, everybody, where I'm at. I've been saying that for years.
Yes.
But Sheila, I disagree, Sheila. I kind of disagree with you about Reverend Howard with that. Because he's in the stuff. He's in the politics and what goes on in his community. You have to have a desire to know what's going on around your community to have stuff like that. Like when we put the information out about the housing, the housing studies, the surveys that are out now, right? That's something that I believe he'd be interested in if he weren't in that position in housing, because he pays attention, he's civically involved, as am I, and the folks on his phone. So it's like that begs the question: how do we get people to become civically involved at a deeper level? One, and why aren't they involved now? And that goes back to, you know, a lot of people. I ask people all the time when we talk, do you believe psychology is real? And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, okay, like psychosis. Do you think psychosis or psychoses are a thing? Do you believe that schizophrenia, bulimia, what's the other one?
That's not major.
No, but multiple personality.
Bipolar personality disorder.
You know what I'm saying? Bipolar personality.
Schizophrenia,
all those things, everyone is able to say, hey, those exist, that person needs help. When it comes to Black folks, no one thinks about the psychology that comes along with being intergenerational or intergenerationally terrorized in every area of activity. So you have all. Nelly Fuller Jr. talks about economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. Those are 9 areas of activity, and we've been terrorizing each of those areas, intergenerationally.
Can I say something? Yes. Because I see all of us doing something. Like Pascal, when he go to the jailhouse, the facilities, he been doing with the youth for years, over 15 years. Minister fellowship, giving out clothes, food, all that. I guess that's the gift in our family. Your mother, her sister, Corey, doing the same thing. McLean's your family. All of us here had that gift for you evangelizing, helping people. Don't you think it's only a few of us doing it and we get, I know I got tired, I'm being honest. I went to every city council meeting, every work session, every board education meeting. I was going to 5 to 6 meetings a day. What can we really do? Let's keep it real here. What can we really do when we have the best interest for our people and try to educate them, but it's still not clicking in their head. Like they're still not comprehending. What can we do? What can we do? What can we say? What action can we take?
You're doing it now, Sheila. You're doing it right now. We're all doing it right now. The action you can take is just be you. You think it's easy fighting with family members and friends about stuff that you try to tell them about and that they're not trying to hear you say right then at the point. But then years later it comes down the line like, okay, what I talked about before, what I spoke about before, it's come to fruition. You think it's easy doing that?
Yeah, you talk to the choir when you.
That's what I'm saying. Because that's what I'm saying though. That's the point. Everyone on this phone call, we're the choir. So the only course of action going forward is to keep being who you are.
Yes.
Unapologetic about yours. Because people tell me all the time, Corey, you talk race too much. I've heard it from people, family and everything. The first person they call is my ass when something happens with race. First person they call. Every time. So it's funny, right? It's funny how it's convenient for people when it's not affected. It conveniently doesn't matter or it's not an issue when it's not affecting them. When it affects them, it's an issue. Me, I look at it the same way Nelly Fuller looks at it. It's racism is a bad thing. It shouldn't be here. I'm not comfortable with it being here. It shouldn't be here. And if you believe that, that's all you gotta do is keep doing what you're doing.
But you know what? I don't know. Maybe this is something else that should be. You know, there should be a black form to bring all of this information together. Information that you collect, I collect, we're all collecting in our respective places in the community. Information that can be generated to help our people move forward. Let's say in the city of Newburgh. You know?
Oh no! You know what? You know how many? See, that's what I'm saying. You know how many meetings we done had, and you know how. Come on now.
I'm talking about information. I'm talking about
information too.
No.
Reverend Howard, you know, there's a word for those things here. There's a phrase for that. They're called think tanks, and we have think tanks locally here. But the thing is about think tanks is they require capital to be run and to be maintained. And again, when it comes down to again, we're talking about the poorest people on the planet, black. This is according to numbers. So we're the poorest people on the planet in terms of like wealth. We have so many distractions. A lot of us have children, have jobs that we're paying attention to. So it becomes a struggle daily just to tend to your life. So outside of that, outside of your personal life, you have to have time or find it in your heart to want to lobby for black rights, according to what we've seen. Me personally, I think that if you internalize everything, the same way your job is important to you, it's the same way that black life is important to you, the same way that black progress is important to you. So if it's important to you, you'll make the time. You do it. Sheila, you and I talk. I be doing the delivery stuff sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
You do a lot. Let me tell you something, be honest, Corey. I didn't know you was that radical. I did not know. I'm be honest. I've been with you called the Pookie and Ray Rays, the one want to burn down different places and power to the people. And I'm be honest, maybe I was naive to a lot of stuff, but looking at you and my uncle, whatever, like, oh yeah, y'all know about the black, y'all know about the problem with the black male facing and this, now get out of here, whatever. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'll be honest, when me and Pebble used to witness and we see my uncle my mother passed, we was like, oh God, here they go. Get away from here. Y'all can't minister to these people. Y'all know nothing about poverty. Y'all know nothing about this and that, whatever. But I'm just saying, I think y'all, being that black males, educated, y'all don't even live in the inner city, and still y'all have a heart for the people. Yeah. And y'all, it's very rare that, and I'm saying it coming from a black female, power to the people. I'll be fighting, for our black males. Very rare to see gentlemen respectful like y'all that really have an interest.
Yes.
Thank you. That's I don't know if you take that as a compliment or not. That was a lot you said.
It is.
I'm gonna be honest. You know who I've been with, and y'all take it as a compliment.
But can I say something now, Corey? That the coalition. To me, that's awesome. The housing coalition, you're the chairperson of that. That's awesome.
I believe so too. But the thing is, with that, and that's why when you're on those meetings, that's why I keep pushing for policy and advocate us to do, to make the policy changes here. But that's in a realm that you see, Reverend Howard, that you and I see. And a lot of people don't see us in those. And like Sheila, you said you didn't know that we were pro-black. You don't see us in these areas, right? There are meetings I go to that black folks have no idea, not an idea what's going on. They're talking about streets where you live, black folks. Shit that you do, places you frequent all the time. And I'm in these little conversations. I'm around. And they're talking about us. And I got to go back and talk to people about what's going on. I go back and talk to people about it. And I gotta look people in the face who tell me, Corey, I don't give a damn about that shit. Corey, go ahead, man. Go, he's on that black. Corey, go ahead. Knowing what's coming down the pipe.
It has to be
that
the
right
right
there enough. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You ever walk? I walked to work for 4 years. Locally, walking to work for 4 years, I got a chance to see all of these sidewalk projects being done, infrastructure projects being done. I've seen crews who the city contracts with, and they contract with these different, companies and stuff. But these companies don't hire black people. I'm seeing full-on City of Newburgh contract required projects with people that speak no English, none at all.
Right, Corey.
And I'm like, and then I hear from, again, like, and this is in a realm that most black folks are in. I hear from employers, people that the job holders, people that give the job. They tell you that they can't find nobody to train here in Newburgh, but they can find a whole bunch of people that don't speak English.
That's a
to
lie.
work on these contracts. Mm-hmm. I used to work at Labor Ready. It's called People Ready now. It's in Windsor. When it was in Newburgh on Broadway next to 411 Lounge, it was called Labor Ready. I worked there for 4 years. 4 years. 4. Nothing but temp jobs. And when they used to tell the black folks up there, they say, hey, we got this job in the morning. We're going to go to this place and take down these rides for this amusement park or this fair. We got to take down the tents or whatever. We need 30 people to be here at 6 o'clock this morning. 5:30, that place be packed with black folks. At 5:30, waiting to go get this money from these places. But they tell you that they can't find nobody that's qualified. And excuse my language, I say bullshit every time that they face.
Well, excuse me, somebody got to mute or get your earphones on. I'm hearing like an echo.
Point is, though, Sheila, at the end of the day, Reverend Howard, DeCaris, and I, we are in areas that y'all, like a lot of people don't even know. Activities y'all won't even have an idea that were taking place. We're in these areas fighting for people, fighting for black folks.
Yeah, then see, that's the form, or like you said, the think tank. That needs to come together so we can know what you're doing, know what I'm doing, DeCaris doing, and also Sheila. And that way we can bring other people in, give them the information that they can take it to somebody else. If I keep the information to myself, it's doing me no good.
Yep, you're
not
right.
doing anybody any good.
And that's why our think tank that we have now, you're right. The commission that we're setting up, the Hudson Valley Negro Reparations Commission. We talked about adding the word interstate to it, but the Hudson Valley Negro Reparations Commission. That's who we are. We're a think tank.
Right. So
political action committee.
Right. Then can't this platform expand? Now we have our focus, we have our mission statement. We know reparation is going to be the ultimate goal, but can't we bring other agencies in, like Mr. McLean is so I don't have no friends, but can we bring other agencies in that can give us their information, and we have more information to pass on?
What do you mean by bring them in? We can use their information. They can give us information. They want to give us information, but we can't bring them in. They can't come in.
No, hold on. No, they come in. They do a presentation. From that presentation, we get the information and pass it on. Mm-hmm. Bring somebody else in. Okay, and eventually we will get to where we need to go, because what do we actually need to get there? History, knowledge, information. So we can be doing a service to the community.
Problem with that?
We can be doing
that's
service
standard.
Right, exactly. But we haven't, can we do that? Because we've been coming together talking. Can we do that? In our quest, we can have a bigger picture. We can have a bigger impact. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know what Mr. McLean. I don't know what you do. I know that what's your brother name?
Derek.
Derek, yeah. Now, Derek and I, man, we've been partnered for years. when he was in the working for the city. He helped me to get where I needed to get. You see?
Mhm.
Well, wait a minute. This is Derek, brother.
Yes, it is.
All my life.
Wow.
Yes.
All my life.
Wow. I kept saying that face looked familiar, but I'm still. Wow.
This is Jocelyn's brother. This is Derek's
That's where
brother.
I know you from, because I seen you with my cousin Jocelyn one time.
That's one of my sisters.
Yeah.
And this is Jesse's son. So
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
what I do specifically, what I did do, I worked in the Dutchess County Jail for almost 5 years.
Okay.
Teaching inmates classes as to how to get their high school diploma.
Mhm.
Parlayed that job into being over the whole HSC program for Dutchess Community College. I did that for the better part of last year, right?
Yes.
When my contract was up, my time was up.
Okay.
So right now, aside from trying to attend these meetings, these reparation meetings or whatever, I'm a podcaster, things like that. You know what I'm saying? So I've always been involved in community functions, whether it's been NAACP, whether it's been working with my brother with Measure of a Man, which was a mentorship program.
Yes.
And all these things I was doing, I wasn't living in the city of Newburgh. Financing your freedom, financial literacy education. So I do a lot of different things. I'm willing to do a lot more because, as you see, that little boy that keeps coming in, I'm thinking about my legacy. I'm thinking about our future, and I'm thinking about what kind of world he's going to be in. And if I know the struggle I had, and I know the struggle my father had, then I can't. I owe it to him to be involved wherever I can be.
Amen.
I owe it to my people.
Right.
Right. Yes.
And I want to say something. At all, I'm the only female here on the panel, and being a black male in today's world, what advice can you give other black males, starting with Pastor Howard?
Well, we know that the backbone of the black male is family. Number one, taking care of your family as much as you can, and I know that hasn't been something that has been pushed, but yet, because of the broken family. But once we start thinking properly, we have to keep the nucleus of the family together, because that's where the identification and the power will come from. Self awareness, self esteem, and self fulfillment comes, within the family. I would say that, and then also too for the black male, they need a mentor. They need an older person in their life that will help them. A person that's wise, a person that's been around the corner a few times, a person that has integrity that can help them to get to the places where they need to go. And that's all I got to say. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Next.
All right.
I would say, don't be afraid to be the least smart person in the room. I'm gonna piggyback off of Pastor Howard. Mentors are everything, and a lot of times that's what we're lacking as black males, because oftentimes we go into environments and we're the only ones that we see, and it's hard to be a trailblazer all the time. But if you can find people that know more than you and not be intimidated by it, your network, expanding your network will always expand your net worth.
Yes.
So I would say that. And as far as being men, I went to college in the 90s, and I got tired of people talking about black men like they weren't there. They kept talking about us like we're endangered species. They kept talking about us like we're non-existent. But all my life, that's all I saw. was black men. That's all that I mean, my father is one of the greatest black men I know. And I can say
For
that.
real. For real.
So, and what you know what he taught me? He taught me the superpower of being consistent. What happened?
What happened, Daddy?
I don't know. I don't know what
Right.
happened.
What happened?
Everybody can hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I hear you.
Um, I'm sorry. So he taught me about being consistent. He taught me about being concerned about and himself. My father and my mother not only raised my siblings and I, but they helped raise other people in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And they filled in the gap for people where they didn't have a gap. There was people that my parents fed that I didn't know later on that their parents were on drugs. You know, so we have to have that mindset that our children, this like somebody has to care about my child like I care about him. And I have to see myself in somebody else's child. So I would say that we have to get out of the mindset of being individuals and start being collective. Don't be afraid to think outside of yourself.
Mm.
Beautiful said. I like that. Corey.
My one piece of advice, I piggyback for them, is get with like-minded people. First off, establish your identity. Get who you are in order first, and get with like-minded people. Once you get with people who have like mind, the sky's the limit. You have no idea. Like I tell my friends, the cars hears me say this all the time. My friends I helped me tap into who I was supposed to be when I was in high school and in college and everything, and throughout my whole life. Being surrounded by friends who think like me, who I think like and want the best for our people, that drives, that keeps me going. So get with people that think like you and know that you're not in this by yourself. Again, we're all we got, but we're all we need.
Wow. I'm just saying y'all had some beautiful words really. And again, do y'all really think that this issue gonna really, really hit on the Congress in Washington? I know we talking about it here local. I know we went to our elected officials, but do y'all really actually seen them really talking about this issue in Washington?
Can I say
Go
something real
ahead.
quick?
I'm on mute.
All right. Well, where do I begin? Working with Habitat. I'm the neighborhood revitalization coordinator for Habitat. Part of my job is to basically we work with neighborhoods to get acquainted with neighborhoods, work within those neighborhoods to empower. Once the people are empowered, we help them set up certain things like neighborhood associations, help them take power and control their neighborhood. Part of my job is also advocacy. We speak with local representatives and people from the local level all the way up to the federal level. We have certain days where we go to DC, where we go to Albany and talk to these people in their offices. When I go to these offices, I oftentimes see people outside. Like you have two types of meetings. One, you can meet with the person, the representative. Like say for instance, if you go to Albany, we'll go to the state capitol. We'll have a meeting with someone. They may be on the floor, which means they're in session making the laws right now, or they may be in their office. Sometimes we meet with people in their office. It may not be the representative themselves, but it could be like a assistant. And you see this going on all throughout the day with different groups. So when I'm up there with Habitat, I'll see different other groups from different places, maybe from different cities in the state, going to talk to people about, maybe some housing, rural housing, or talk about economic development, bringing jobs, or maybe taking down power lines. But when you're out, when you see these people, you see people there at the Capitol in large groups. Sometimes the groups can be 2 people, 1 person go up there and talk to the person to advocate for it. But oftentimes you'll see large groups with 30 to 40 people wearing the same T-shirt, there with the same talking points, having the same points to talk about, saying the same thing. We all want this for us. And that congressperson will come out and see all those people and say, wow, it's a lot of you here. And they'll say, okay, what do you want? And they'll tell them, and they say, okay. And they'll take that person's card, get the contact information from the group. They'll swap information. The representative will take the group's information, and the group would take the representative's information for their aide and everyone in their office. That's how the work begins to get done. We have to become more engaged civically as a people. We can't any longer go in a singular manner in front of these people saying we want this kind of change. Again, it's about finding like-minded people and organizing, getting that group of people. Because if I go to City Hall right now, and this is what I told the neighborhood association, which we helped create a habitat, which exists right now on North Miller Street and South Parmenter Street. First time we went in front of City Council was 8 women from these neighborhoods saying, we want speed strips. The City Council looked at them and said, oh, you guys are organized. So they had a different take on them altogether when they saw them. Same with Nobody Leaves Mid-Hudson. Nobody Leaves Mid-Hudson, it's a group of immigrants that come together. I've seen them 60 people deep in City Hall saying we want to be moved up on the agenda to number 1. Not only were they moved up to the number 1 on the agenda, the city accommodated them for the next meeting, gave a special section to address what they wanted. This is the work we have to do. We have to be prepared to do this type of work. Now, I understand a lot of people out there are very, very, you're busy. You're real busy. You got kids, you got work. And a lot of people go to work, they talk about how to work the job places isn't treating them fairly, or the kids go to school, the school district isn't treating them fairly. This is why we're doing this work, so we can alleviate and eradicate all those pre-existing conditions. You know, the unfair treatment at work or the unfair treatment in school. We want to eradicate all this stuff. So it's going to take organization. And it's going to take more than people just being on Facebook saying stuff. See, I'm on Facebook saying stuff. And I want to address something too. I say a lot of stuff on Facebook. I'll take my glasses because I can't see. I talk a lot of stuff on Facebook, but the thing is, I back it up. I back up everything. Everything. You see me in the streets. I'll be in the streets talking to people. I'll be in the streets getting concerned, trying to help people. One is part of, first and foremost, is who I am. It's who I was raised to be. My parents, like the Cars' parents, they taught me community first, people first. So, yeah, I talk a lot of stuff on Facebook, but the thing is, again, I offer solutions every time. And the solutions I offer, you will be able to see them, or you can hear them when I talk to you in the streets. So it's about organizing and being, if you're going to be about this life, you got to be about this life. You got kids, you got to be about this life, because your kids, when you die, your kids going to inherit the same nonsense you want to inherit. They're going to step on the same landmines that you're stepping on right now. And it's going to keep going over and over again. It's going to be your grandkids doing it until we get tired of it. And right now I'm tired of it. And until our people feel that they're tired of it too, the same stuff's going to keep going on and on. It's going to keep going on. Right now, we're the only people that accept disrespect, that accept crumbs, that accept third-hand clothing, when we should be the freshest people in the room. We built this. So it comes down to doing the work, organizing, being with a group, willing to put your own ego in like people in church say, willing to die to yourself for something bigger than what you are, your people. And if you ain't with it, it's not for you. Keep it pushing.
Beautiful said.
Do I think it's going to take place nationally? Not right now. Um, I really feel like this is an issue that we have to be prepared that to not see in our time, and we have to get past ourselves. A lot of things happen. A lot of my grandmother probably scrubbed a lot of floors, never to meet me. You know, I've never met any of my grandparents, but I know that they were doing something for me, and we have to get in that mindset. Again, we have to see the future outside ourselves. We have to see outside ourselves and be willing to work for that. As much as we stand on the shoulders of people, we have to be willing to brace ourselves so that somebody else can stand on our shoulders. It's not about whether I'm going to get my flowers in this lifetime. You know, true success. I always tell people the success that I might see in my life, I might not ever see, because success is really not about what you do as far as your individual accomplishment. Success is about what comes after you. And if we are not concerned about what comes after us, then we're dead in the water. Bottom line is, my success, the measure of my success might come in my son. It might come in my son's son. But the bottom line is, I have to be prepared, or I have to work toward preparing for a future and a life that's beyond my life. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
I would like to say that, as a people, we are very, very ingenious, creative, and very innovative. And those skills, or that gifting, I should say, that we should also too remember that and bring those to the forefront. Because, like Corey said, we built this country. We understand that, and we understand that a lot of things were stolen from us as a people. The inventions that went on not being publicized to us, that our ancestors invented so many things, and we have to carry on that legacy, that we are genius. We have those genes of being genius also, and we have done things in our lifetime. Even this right now, this panel right here, it's a invention of the minds and of the thinking, where we come together to do something for our people. So we have to remember too the creativity that went before us and the creativity that we have. And if something is not there, we invent that thing to come to pass as we
Exactly.
go along. If something's not
Exactly.
here, then we invent it. We make it happen. We have that as a people, and I see that in this panel. We have that ingenuity right here, right here, or else we wouldn't be sitting here with one another. Yes,
Right.
yes.
I
Oh,
know
yeah.
Corey had something to say.
I agree with what he said. He's whatever. If it doesn't exist,
Yes,
that's what
sir.
we're here for. We're here to make it up, compensate for what's missing. I'm with that. I agree 1,000%.
Hmm. Yes.
And you know what? I know this is not going to be an easy task. I know we're going to get some pushbacks for our elected officials and stuff, and we have. And what would y'all say that other people live in other states trying to do the same thing? What advice would y'all give them? Starting off with you, Corey.
Know what you're talking about, So that when you do talk about it and you do get pushback, you'll embrace it. Because I embrace the pushback. I love the pushback. In all honesty, I was telling the Garson yesterday, I love the pushback. I want it. I want to get pushback. I want you to give me something different to think about. Give me something different to think about. But for the most part, the pushback is the same pushback. So it's kind of easy to refute. Not even kind of, it's fairly simple, especially if you're well informed about the topic. And reparations is a topic that I believe that once well informed enough about, it's easy to talk about. It's easy.
And I like to chime in. This group, I believe that this group will open a lot of doors, not just in our mission, but we're going to open a lot of doors. Believe me, I can just sense that and understand that we have to understand that this is the movement. You know, we can look at it as a great as a commission, but this is a movement that's going to ignite all throughout the country. Sheila, when you brought this to us at the first, it's like, it was like, okay, what is that? Come on, that's way out there. That's too far fetched to even be realistic. No, no. And then all of a sudden, you know, once you were exposed to something, you can have something right in your face. But once you're exposed to that, then you're aware of what's being said. And now that when you start planting those seeds, and now we're thinking, Corey and I are thinking, and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, this thing is becoming, national. I can see that. Remember, Corey? It was like, okay, Sheila. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, Sheila, what you talking about? Hey, okay, is this another wild goose chase?
See, cause you know what? I'm tired. Yeah, y'all know Suds, her bullhorn shutting down the city hall stuff. I said no. Always doing, running for I ran for office, register people to vote, advocate for that. I said, I had to do something different. So with Corby is like he the voice. And just seeing him at the table going back and forth, and I'm like, wow, because I'm letting him know where that individual's strong point, weak point, and Corey just tackling, just seeing you. It was like I was like, Lord, thank you. We wow, I have people acting all crazy. It was like I mean, I'm not gonna talk. I'm a doer, and I just think y'all house piece because Corey and y'all awesome.
Can you hear me, Sheila?
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna tell you the same thing. I told my friends that, like, again, I told my friends this year, I'm like, yo, man, like it's refreshing to be around people that think like me, that come from the same background. So when you rallied the troops and we all got together, I was like, whoo, thank God. I'm like, we have a claim. We have a real claim, and we have a real crew that's behind getting this claim, to come to fruition. So I like that. It's refreshing, man. It's refreshing.
I think oftentimes with people that like are community organizers, they get into because a lot of Black people still go to church, but they get into the Elijah delusion. And the Elijah delusion is that you are all alone, and you are not. So you should not be weary in well doing because because the reward will come. It might not come in your lifetime, but you're working toward that. And also, if you remember the story of Elijah wanted to die. He wanted to just kind of mail it in, and God said, "Listen, I got thousands of people. I got so many other people besides you that are working." And a lot of times we tend to think that we are have to open our mindset to understand that what we do locally does affect what goes on nationally. And there are people that are around the country that have this same mindset. There are ADOS chapters all over, are popping up all over the country. So it's not just us, it's not just you. And if you will give up. But when you understand that you do have peers, that you do have people that are working toward the same thing, it'll help you keep going.
I apologize. I'm multitasking. That's why I have my camera on. But I just want to say again, I thank y'all for y'all wisdom and book smarts, politics, because fighting a fight and you try to educate people on it and about the laws and different stuff, and they just have one mindset just in one area, that one area you focus on, but so like 9 others is being neglected, you know? So I think we really open up a can of worms. Do y'all really think what y'all believe for, y'all really die for? Because I know I am. I'm not just a talker, I'm a doer. But do y'all really, really think that y'all really up for this task?
I am. My son depends on it. My family depends on it. It would be disrespect to my family if I wasn't. Like I said, we no longer can allow America to dine and ditch. We are at the point of, really, if we don't do this, we perish. That's pretty much the if we don't do this as a people, we are being phased out in so many different areas of society. And people think that they can replace us. But without us, none of this would be here. Literally none of this would be here. So yeah, my life is not my own. It's for my wife, it's for my kids, it's for my it's for my family. It's for my community. I have a name to carry. I have pride in my last name. I can't mail it in now. So yeah.
I agree, Cars. I agree.
Pastor Howard, anything you want to say? And then after this, I'm going to close up and I have y'all say the last word.
I think he went.
Well, I
I
see him
think
there. I don't see him on camera.
something. I think he had to step on.
I see him, but he had to unmute himself.
Yeah.
All right, Corey, you could start with the last, because I'm going to close it, and then maybe here.
Last word.
Last word.
Last word. Black folks. We're not saying. I'm not asking anyone to, hate anybody else or be mean to anybody else. All I'm asking for is that you just take pride in yourself, love yourselves more, so that you won't let anybody be mean or hate on you. There's a battle rapper named there's this, in battle rap, I watched this one league called the URL. I love it. It's called Smack. I've been watching it for years. And they used to have a rapper on there named Conceited. I think Conceited from Brooklyn. Where's he from? The Bronx? He's from New York somewhere. A little short dude.
From Brooklyn.
But he would say he's from Brooklyn. Oh, okay. That might be another story though. But he says things, he'll say a line, right? A regular line, and you'll hear it. And you'll think it's just him saying a regular line, but he'll say, slow it down. I just dished you. And he'll go back and repeat that same line in a different way so that it comes across differently to where you see where he just dissed you. Black folks, we need to learn and recognize when we're getting dissed. Oftentimes people come out and say things and do things, but we don't see it as them dissing us. You gotta slow it down.
Right.
Everything that's put out into the atmosphere is not good for you. So again, it's best to just surround yourself with your people, get more engaged in this fight for us to actually just, for us to be people, and just stay vigilant, man. That's all you can do. Remember, civil rights, a lot of people don't understand, like, civil rights, that's your stuff, Black folks. That's yours. That's us. Civil rights was for Black people. People don't want to say it, but it's for Black people. Dr. Claude Anderson the other day was talking to Boyce Watkins about civil rights and how civil rights was a direct response to the Dred Scott versus Sanford decision, where they said that no Black man has any rights that a white man is bound to respect. That court decision set the precedent for a lot of mistreatment. So civil rights was an actual response to that for Black people. Before anybody else was here in this country, it was Black and white in this country. Now everybody got civil rights. Women, white women, they're getting contracts and all this stuff. So my thing is, again, just come into the game, just know your stuff, man. Just and if you don't learn what you don't know right now, just be willing to learn it as you go along, so you can represent us properly.
Well said.
I would say everybody become politically educated, become the best you, create the best version of yourself, because that's what it starts with you. And also learn major people disappear, like diversity. Learn these terms that this black and brown. Learn these different terms that pretty much work to the detriment of your people, but they make you feel good along the way. There was always Kool-Aid in the cyanide. Cyanide in the Kool-Aid. And we have to stop being at the helm of our own destruction. We have to stop cooperating with it. We have to stop cooperating with our own destruction. Because if we don't stop cooperating with it, then there is no future. We're being phased out of every level of society. So if we don't get serious now, it's literally our survival at this point. You have to think that way. And if you don't think that way, then it's too late. That's all I would say. Got to start thinking survival now.
Thank you, Pastor Howard.
Can you give me the question? I was mute.
I said everybody having last words.
Okay,
last words?
Okay, I guess we're speaking to the general audience. I would say get wisdom, and with wisdom get understanding, because we're going to need the wisdom and knowledge in order to navigate through anything that this country has, anything that you want to entertain or get involved with. When you sit at the table on a board of anything, you have to have wisdom and knowledge in order to be engaged in the conversation. So I would say that, we were not always at the table, and we as a people were ostracized and not able to read and write. And sometimes we are still, and some of our ancestors are still illiterate when it comes to that. And even right now, as we speak in the year 2021, education, public schools, in a sense, is free. Get that education. Let your children be, educated by the system as much as they can to get what they need. But we know that the educational system is not the system that is going to educate our people the way we want them to be educated. But that is a start, and it is something that it is free. And from there, they can branch out and start to look into their history as a people and get the knowledge and the wisdom that they need to sit at the table and speak very intelligently about the issues at hand. Simple as that.
Agree.
Wow, thank you. Anybody, anything else y'all want to say? I don't want to, this is beautiful, and I want to thank each and every one of y'all for coming and
Thank you
Corey.
for having me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having
Pastor
us.
Howard,
Mhm.
McLean, and I just want to say thank y'all again for just showing up and showing off, because this is really hard for a lot of Black males to take interest for what's going on in the inner city, especially when it really don't affect you, and y'all doing the work. Y'all don't have to, but this y'all passion, and y'all want to see a difference in the inner city. Y'all don't look down at the people in the inner city, And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I thank y'all. I really do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I want to thank hold on 1 minute. I want to thank everybody. Hey, I want to thank you for coming. I want to thank everybody in the chat for supporting me again. It's a blessing. I call my guardian angels, the ones in the chat, because every time I do a random live, they always show that support. And I know this topic is not popular on the YouTube streets. And y'all not familiar with the YouTube streets. And let me tell you something, there's a lot of people on the YouTube streets who say burn the community down. Save yourself, Black man for the Black woman. And it's just a lot of stuff be going on that y'all don't even know that be said in the YouTube streets. And they don't really know how active I am, because I really don't show it on my page. But I want to again thank y'all for showing up. And we gotta do this again, we do. Because let me tell you, sons, other people need to hear this. They want to start it in this state, in their town, in this city. And I'm telling you, if y'all find people like them here on these pianos, brothers and sisters, y'all better keep them. Because there's very few out there who really have the community, the inner city, in their best interest. And they don't have to do it. You know what? They're not getting benefit for it. And they're not getting paid for it. They're doing it because that's their passion. And that's in their heart. And very few people have that gift and talent to do what we're doing. And I want to thank y'all, And they're always saying, where's the Black sisters who with the Black brothers? Let me tell you something. I'm one of the ones who fight for my brothers every day. Corey and Pastor Howard would tell you, if ain't nobody else out there fighting for the Black males, I am. Been there, done that. And believe me, it ain't easy. The task is not easy. And I just want to thank y'all again. And y'all want to say anything before I close out?
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks. And everybody, y'all have a blessed evening. And God bless. And we have to do this again, guys. Everybody in chat, y'all have a blessed evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.